What is up, guys? Another video, another review, another dopamine high, and today we are taking a look at the Star Wars The Black Series Migs Mayfeld figure, or as I like to call it, the Bill Burr figure, because obviously it's Bill Burr as the actor, but I only see Bill Burr. There's no Migs Mayfeld here in my eyes. But anyways, pulling the figure out of the box and just looking at him, visuals, first impressions, he's looking pretty good, so I can't wait to show you and tell you everything about this figure. And this is one of my videos, so of course there's going to be a lore segment about the figure we are reviewing, because I like to spread knowledge about things I like. And for Migs Mayfeld specifically, we are not going to go over anything that happened in seasons 1 or 2 of The Mandalorian, so I don't accidentally spoil something for anyone, even though the show has been out for a while. So Migs Mayfeld was a Imperial Army sharpshooter, and after he left the Empire, he became a mercenary and was recruited by Ronzar Mulk to do a bunch of jobs for him, and that's pretty much all I can tell you without getting into the Mandalorian territory. So yeah, the figure. And as we always do, we start off with articulation, and we're going to take a look at this figure's articulation with the helmet off, so we get to see that beautiful Bill Burr face. So he gets to do a full 360, look up and down all around, mostly because he has no helmet limiting his head articulation, like nothing clashing with the chest piece or anything of the sorts. And then doing head articulation with the helmet on, just because of how minimalistic, or I should say low, the chest piece is, the helmet doesn't even clash with it. So, head articulation is still good with the helmet on. Arm articulation is pretty solid. You can get that forearm up pretty well before clashing with the bicep piece, I should say. And I should say the wrist articulation does feel a little limited due to the sleeve. You can see that there is a joint there. It's just that the sleeve on the jacket does kind of just limit that articulation. Torso articulation feels it's a little limited. He can't really do any crunches because of the chest piece, unless you want him to do an ab crunch 90 degrees, and then he can do a full 360, which is always cool. Leg articulation actually isn't that bad. He can, if you want him to sit down and anything, he can do that. He can do a butt kick, which is always really good. Shows really good knee articulation. He can do kind of not even half a split. It's just and then the feet articulation. This thing is very weird. It looks like his legs are about to, his feet I should say, are about to break off. It looks very strange, and it is an issue, but spoiler alert, later in the video it does get fixed, but I didn't know that at the time of recording. Here's a clip of me trying to stand him up on his own before I could figure out the solution of the problem, and this entire time I was just having a heart attack thinking that this figure was just ruined or compromised. But like I said, we do find a solution, and then in this clip I do show the solution. So it looks like his foot's about to break off, so you have to be very careful, but all you have to do is push the heel forward, just like I said, carefully, not too hard because you don't want to break off that foot. And you should position the foot to where it looks like it's not floating or it's about to snap off, and he should be able to stand upright as I show you right here. So there you go for a solution if you do happen to have this same issue as me. And one thing that it's not too big of an issue, but it looks like his pistol is falling out of his hand. Like the finger's in the right spot, it just looks like it's not completely in there. Like he can hold this E11 just fine, no problems. He can hold this DLT-19 just fine, no issues. This DLT-20A just fine, and Boss can hold the pistol just fine. So it's not a pistol issue, it's a hand issue. And to prove that, the figure uses the same sculpt as the Mud Trooper, and the Mud Trooper is also having an issue holding this pistol. So I don't know what that's about. And when I did say that this figure uses the same sculpt as the Mud Trooper, I was not lying. As you can see from the head down, you can see that there's the same chest piece, the same shoulder piece, the legs are the same. The only difference that's from the head down is the waist area. Migs Mayfeld does have a holster on his right side, whereas the Mud Trooper does not. And then Migs Mayfeld uses the hover tank pilot helmet, or in this case it's a Juggernaut driver helmet, but it's the same exact model slash sculpt of the hover tank pilot, as you can see right here. So it's kind of, I wouldn't say a kit bashed figure, but it's a figure you just reusing parts from previously released figures, and something that I'm now seeing is that that episode uses a lot of stuff from previous Star Wars movies. Like, obviously the head down is Mud Trooper, like, armor. So that's from, like, Solo. And then, you know, there's the hover tank pilot helmet, which was from Rogue One. And in that episode, there were shore troopers, which was also from Rogue One. I don't know if I'm overthinking this, but that episode did reuse a lot of assets from previous Star Wars works. But that's just an observation and has to do nothing with this review at all. And before we get into the turntable segment of the video, because I'm going to start putting those more towards the end because that's more of my closing thoughts, we're going to do size comparisons. And it's not an Alien video because I don't know why I only did that in the Alien videos. I don't know if it's because they're really big figures and I'm like, hey, look at these really big figures compared to other figures. But I'm going to start doing size comparisons for more figures. As you can see, we're going to be doing one for Migs Mayfeld. So with further ado, let's get into it. So starting off here, he is next to the last figure we did review, which is NECA's Chrysalis Alien, Jazzware's Halo Infinite Master Chief, McFarlane Doomslayer, and Bandai's high-grade Gundam Death Scythe. So here we are at the turntable showcase segment of the video where you get a good look at the figure without me manhandling him while I go over the pros, cons, and just any other thoughts I do have about the figure. Now starting off with cons because I want to get that negative stuff out of the way. And the first con I can think of is the articulation in the torso area. Now, I'm not asking Hasbro to give us 1,000 toys quality articulation in a $25 action figure. And I'm not saying this dude should be able to suck his own dick, but I do think this guy should be able to lean forward a little bit more, get more of a crunch. Not a full ab crunch, but just, you know, have the ability to just lean forward a little bit more. It's just because, you know, action figures are meant to be played with and they're meant to be posed, and I feel like the better the playability and the better the posability should mean better the articulation. And I'm not saying that this guy was unable to be posed. I was able to get some good poses with this guy. I just do wish that the articulation in the torso area was a little bit better, some better quality of life. It would just make me a lot happier if this guy's torso was able to be moved around more because, you know, playability and stuff. And the second con, which is probably the big one of the two, is the whole foot area situation. This is a problem that I can see many people having if they don't know better, is the foot is being held together by a small flimsy peg. So if you do freak out or think that this is a permanent problem like I originally did and try pushing the foot from any other angle besides the heel, you can very well snap the foot off. Now I didn't, so I was very fortunate, but I'm just saying someone who just tries pushing the foot from the wrong angle very hard can very easily snap that foot off. And even if you do know the solution with pushing the heel, you do still have to be very careful because, like I said, it's a small flimsy peg. So even if you are pushing it in the right position, if you push a little too hard, you can very well snap that foot off. So it's just be very careful and be aware, because this foot can snap off very easily, and I feel like Hasbro should have done something to just keep that foot on sturdier without compromising the articulation. And then this isn't really a third con, it's just something that sticks out to me, is how he holds the pistol. Now, he holds every other Imperial blaster just fine, it's just the pistol, he holds weird, and I don't know why. I don't know what to tell Hasbro what to do if they were to listen to me. It's just something that sticks out to me and I can't unsee it. Some people might not even care, but to me it's just something I see, and I'm not gonna dock points for it, but it's just there. It's just there and I cannot unsee it. Those two flaws, especially the foot one, that's a big one if you don't know better, but despite those two flaws, I think that this is a very well executed figure. The paint job looks fine, the sculpting looks fine, I don't see anything that looks out of place, the face looks fine, the beard actually looks like facial hair, the eyes don't look messed up. I think that overall this was just a good job done by Hasbro. So do I recommend this figure? Yes, I do, especially if you are on the hunt for Mandalorian figures. I think this guy will be on the harder side to find, seeing that this is our only Migs Mayfeld figure at the moment. I know there was a pipeline release for a season 1 appearance later down the road, so if you are not able to find this figure at all, there will be a second chance for you. Granted, it's a different appearance, but there will be a second chance for Migs Mayfeld overall. I was fortunate enough to be able to pre-order this guy, so I didn't have to go hunting for him in any stores. The main reason I bought this guy was to actually put him in what I call my Stormtrooper shelf, even if this guy isn't a Stormtrooper. It's a weird shelf mixed with a bunch of Imperial foot soldiers. Like, the only foot soldiers, or forces I should say, that I do not put in this shelf are Royal Guards and officers. After that, it is made up of Stormtroopers from the First Order and the Empire, TIE Fighter pilots from the First Order and the Empire, variants of any of these troopers, and I do have the Army because there is the Mud Troopers and now this guy, and I do have TIE Fighter pilots. I think I said that already, but basically I just have Stormtroopers and all their variants with TIE Fighter pilots and the Army, and I do have the Shadow Clone Trooper because that's technically a very early Stormtrooper because it's not a clone in there. But yeah, that's what my shelf consists of, and it has a lot of weird rules, and this guy will be going on that shelf with the helmet on, obviously. So yeah, here we are, guys. It's the end of the video. Sweet release is coming soon, and I just want to say before I do the whole thank you for watching thing, sorry if I sounded dead or just not motivated, or just, I just didn't want to be here in the opening of the box and the lore segment of the video. Just when making those parts of the video, or I should say recording those parts of the video, the video felt more like a chore than an actual thing I wanted to do. I was going through a lot. I have a lot of responsibilities. I have work, school, and all that. So, and then of course I take part in doing YouTube, and I do try to find the time to do YouTube whenever I can, and it was just a weird time. It was a very busy day, and I just felt very unmotivated. So hopefully throughout the rest of the video I sounded a lot more interactive and just more approachable. But yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way. So I really do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, a like and a subscription would be very nice. I'm not going to make you comment because that's a lot of effort, and we're not even going to discuss that bell because we both know that shit's broken. So anyways, hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe if you think I'm worthy of it, and I'll see you in another one.